Yahoo gets hacked again. Celebrities beg Republican electors to save the country from Donald Trump, and the director of the FBI tells Trump it wasn't the Russians. SkyWatch TV for Thursday, December 15th, 2016. I'm Derek Gilbert. First up, ISIS has come away from its recapture of the Syrian city of Palmyra, with some heavy weapons. This is disturbing because among their treasure trove, armored vehicles, tanks, and missiles, which I told you about yesterday, including some air defense weapons, which is disturbing. Syria's President Bashar al-Assad said in an interview Wednesday, "We recaptured Palmyra before, we will liberate it once again." U.S. Lieutenant General Stephen Townsend, who's in charge of Operation Inherent Resolve, told reporters he expects the Russians and the regime to address the issue in short order. Meanwhile, Iran's Shiite militia units, the Iran-backed Shiite militia units, reportedly blocking civilians and opposition fighters from leaving the city of Aleppo. While a ceasefire in Aleppo has reportedly broken down, shelling of rebel-controlled areas started up again Wednesday morning, in spite of a deal arranged by Turkish intelligence and the Russian military. A state-run news agency in Turkey reports that as many as 1,000 civilians are being held at an Iranian militia checkpoint. The city of Aleppo itself is essentially back under the control of the Assad government, and for Iran, this more or less means that it's established a crescent of control, or influence anyway, stretching from Iran's border with Afghanistan all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. As evidence, their ability to block the evacuation of civilians from the beleaguered city of Aleppo, just one sign of their influence over the Assad government in Syria. And a reminder that what's going on in Syria is really a proxy war between the major Shia power in the world, Iran, and the main Sunni power, or actually powers, Turkey and Saudi Arabia. And their interests don't exactly align with one another either. They both want a caliphate, but the Turks want to control it, whereas the House of Saud wants to remain in control. We talk about this, by the way, in an upcoming program with Joel Richardson, best-selling author of Mideast Beast and When a Jew Rules the World. His forthcoming book is about the prophetic mystery Babylon, and we discussed the infighting within the world of Islam. That program will air on SkyWatch TV during the month of January. NBC News is reporting that Russia's President Vladimir Putin was personally involved in efforts to hack the U.S. presidential election. NBC says new intelligence links Putin directly to leaks from the Democratic National Committee's email server. Quoting two unnamed senior U.S. officials, one source says the campaign began as a vendetta against Hillary Clinton, possibly in retaliation for her role in stirring up unrest and violence in Ukraine, which is on Russia's border. Would be sort of like Russia stirring up revolution in Mexico. The goal, according to these unnamed sources, grew into an effort to expose corruption in U.S. politics and undermine American credibility around the world. Well, you know what? I would honestly be surprised if Russia wasn't trying to hack into American government servers on a daily basis. Or China, Iran, other nations, even, frankly, including Israel. I'd be surprised if they weren't doing it. And to be honest with you, if America's intelligence agencies weren't doing this, trying to do the same thing to them, I'd say they weren't doing their jobs. This is really not news. But the interesting part of all this, now, Ed Klein, who's a New York Times best-selling author, who's written a couple of books critical of the Clintons, reports that his sources tell him that FBI Director James Comey personally called Donald Trump, President-elect Donald Trump, to advise him that it was not the Russians, that there is no credible evidence that Russia influenced the outcome of the election, and that what's more, Director of National Intelligence James Clapper agrees with the FBI's analysis. According to Comey, the only one in the U.S. intelligence community ready to blame Russia is CIA Director John Brennan. In Comey's view, leaks from the CIA to the New York Times and Washington Post are an effort by the Democratic Party to delegitimize Trump's victory. And what we may be seeing here, to be honest, is a turf war between a pro-Hillary CIA that wants to keep things stirred up, you know, when there are lots of wars and rumors of war. We need the intelligence services to keep tabs on what's happening, which means job security, in a sense. The CIA versus the pro-Trump FBI, which is disgusted that the activities of Hillary with regards to the Clinton Foundation didn't land her in jail. And frankly, it also supports my theory that Director Comey, even though he was widely criticized by Republicans and conservatives who think Hillary should have been indicted, did the best he could with the cards that he was dealt to derail her presidential campaign by bringing up the email, her private email server, illegal private email server, the weekend before the election, even though he chose not to prosecute. With an Obama-controlled Justice Department, there was no way they would bring an indictment which would have allowed Hillary to claim that she'd been vindicated. Now, anyway, what the press isn't mentioning in all of this, as I said yesterday, is that nobody is arguing that the emails leaked from the Democratic National Committee or from John Podesta's Gmail account are bogus. And of course, they disclosed, well, illegal levels of unethical behavior using the Clinton Foundation to charge foreign governments for access to Hillary Clinton and thus the U.S. government, and the collusion of the major media with the Democratic National Committee in trying to get Hillary Clinton elected president. So the irony of all this is that if Russia is responsible, and I don't think they are, but if Russia was responsible, it's only because of a hacker on the other side of the planet that the American public even knows about this unethical behavior, because the press, like the Washington Post and the New York Times, aren't doing their jobs as defenders of our liberty by holding our politicians accountable to us. You know, we the people. Now, the irony here is that the only state in the union that says, yeah, we're pretty sure hackers tried to get into our computer systems is the state of Georgia, where the Secretary of State there says that they've tracked cyber attacks on their servers going back 10 months. But getting experts involved and tracing the origin of these attacks has found that every one of them came from an internet provider for the United States Department of Homeland Security. And by the way, if you use Yahoo for an email account, or even if, like me, you only use Yahoo to play, fantasy baseball, change your password, like right now. Yahoo got hacked again, and according to the company, as many as 1 billion, that's billion with a B, user accounts may have been compromised. So take care of that today. Coming up, a self-driving car in San Francisco runs a red light on its first day. That's ahead on SkyWatch TV.
Coming exclusively from SkyWatch TV for a very limited time starting December 6, 2016. When you purchase the new 3-book special investigative research collection, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative from SkyWatchTV.com, you'll receive the largest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history. An unprecedented value of over $400 in free books, DVDs, audio files, and the never-before-released data DVD library from Dr. Michael Lake on The Sheerith Imperative, which includes 56 Christian classic works on PDF. All 28 episodes in Dr. Michael Lake's Understanding the Kingdom audio series. The latest version of eSword for Windows. The 3-part Into the Multiverse television series where Josh Peck interviews Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative. And nearly 3 hours of bonus interviews on video with Dr. Lake on the Sharpening Report. For your library or to give away as gifts. Also included in this biggest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history are Josh Peck's full-length 2016 DVD presentations, The Quantum Future and Extra-Dimensional UFOs. Dr. Michael Lake's full-length 2016 DVD presentations, Jericho, The Anatomy of a Stronghold, and The Shinar Directive. The new 5-part SkyWatch TV special investigative report on the books, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and The Sheerith Imperative. But that's not all. You'll also receive the new Best of SkyWatch Television on DVD. Over 5.5 hours of the most popular episodes in SkyWatch TV history. Travel through the multiverse on the new Best of Into the Multiverse on DVD. Over 5 hours of audio with Josh Peck on the coming Technocalypse. The best-selling book, The Final Roman Emperor. An incredible 5-year subscription to the SkyWatch magazine. 2 brand new free gift books. And the never-before-released data DVD library from Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheereth Imperative. For your library or to give away as gifts. An unprecedented value of over $400 in never-before-offered free products. This is the biggest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history, and it's yours absolutely free when you purchase the new 3-book special investigative research collection, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheereth Imperative for only $39.95 plus shipping from SkyWatchTV.com, beginning December 6, 2016. But be advised, this astonishing promotion is limited to first come, first serve while supplies last. So it's urgent that beginning December 6, 2016, you place your order for the new 3-book special investigative research collection. This offer is on a limited time basis and will end without notification. So be sure to visit SkyWatchTV.com to follow the updates. In the countdown to the biggest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history, the unprecedented value of over $400 in never-before-offered free products while supplies last. For more details, log on to SkyWatchTV.com.
We may be getting close to the end, but God is raising up an end times remnant for this day and this hour. Tom Horn, Donna Howell, and Larry Spargimino talk about their new book, Final Fire, this week on SkyWatch TV. That's our main topic. That's also our web exclusive this week, a second interview as we continue the discussion. What is the evidence that there is an end-time revival just ahead? You'll find the web exclusive only online, skywatchtv.com, and the SkyWatch TV channels on Roku and on YouTube. Congress has passed a bill to microchip citizens with disabilities, mental disabilities. Hard to believe, but yes, it's true. House Resolution 4919, H.R. 4919, called Kevin and Avante's Law, passed by a vote of 346 to 66. That's what we call bipartisan. This bill would purportedly find individuals, by microchipping them, individuals with dementia or children with learning disabilities who've wandered away from safe environments. Now, if you're like me, you can see the potential for abuse here. Texas Representative Republican Louis Gohmert said, quote, "It is absolutely staggering that the Republican majorities in the House and Senate could be so blind to government overreach that they would allow a federal tracking program not for criminals in the U.S., not for terrorists, not for illegal immigrants, or even immigrants who commit crimes, but for people with developmental disabilities, a term that is subject to wide misinterpretation," end quote. We'll keep an eye on this one. Speaking of technology, the titans of tech met at Trump Tower with the president-elect yesterday. Representatives from Apple, Alphabet, that's Google's parent company, Microsoft, Amazon.com, Facebook, Intel, Oracle, IBM, Cisco, and Tesla were there. Twitter, interestingly enough, was not, especially considering how useful Twitter was to Mr. Trump during the campaign. Now, some speculated that it was because Twitter wouldn't agree to create an anti-Hillary emoji for the Trump campaign. Trump spokesman said it's because Twitter's market cap, its value as a company, wasn't big enough to be included in the meeting. One interesting attendee at the meeting, though, was a representative from Palantir Corporation. Now, Palantir is named for those seeing stones from the Lord of the Rings novels. Co-founder of Palantir, Peter Thiel, is a big Trump supporter and spoke at the Republican National Convention in July. Palantir develops software that data mines social media and produces analyses for the intelligence community. It's done work for the Pentagon, FBI, CIA. Was founded with money from the CIA's venture capital company, In-Q-Tel. South Korea has raised its bird flu alert to the highest level for the first time ever. A nasty strain of H5N6 avian flu is quickly spreading across the country. South Korea has euthanized more than 12% of its poultry population to try to stop the spread of the disease. An American pastor who's been held in Turkey for more than 2 months is now being charged with being a member of an armed terror group. Andrew Brunson pastors a Protestant church in Izmir, that's on the coast of the Aegean Sea, western Turkey. He was arrested October 7th for being a threat to national security Brunson from North Carolina has lived in Turkey for 23 years. Fox News reports that the Turkish government has accused Brunson of ties to the U.S.-based Muslim cleric Fethullah Gulen. Gulen was blamed by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan as the man behind the failed coup attempt in Turkey back in July. The entire police force of a small town in Indiana has quit. The five-man force of Bunker Hill, which is north of Indianapolis, about halfway between Indy and South Bend, resigned as a group at the town hall meeting Monday night, town council meeting, that is. The officers said in their resignation letters that council members had asked them to do illegal, unethical, and immoral things, such as running background checks on other town councilors to try to dig up criminal past. Officers say when they refused, they were threatened, like being told, you know, it'd be a shame if you five men had to share one set of body armor. That's, you know, potentially a danger to the officers if there was ever a situation requiring more than one officer to respond. A former town marshal, Michael Thomason, also said that he was only allowed to come back part-time after returning from a leave of absence due to cancer. Was told that the insurance cost of covering his medical expenses was too much, and so they couldn't let him go back on full-time. Bunker Hill, Indiana, now using outside police officers while the town council searches for replacements. Good luck getting applicants after this story goes nationwide. Celebrities of a sort are begging Republican electors to be heroes by voting against Donald Trump when the Electoral College meets and casts its vote on Monday. Martin Sheen, a number of other sort of famous people, are calling on electors to vote their conscience. That's what you get when you allow freedom of speech. At least it's not an attempt to police our speech, which is a disturbing trend at universities around the world, which, you know, I always thought was a place where you went to, you know, broaden your mind and be exposed to new ideas. Well, the latest university to join the Speech Police Brigade, the prestigious University of Oxford in England, twisting language to conform to a twisted view of reality. They are asking students to replace the pronouns he and she with the gender-neutral pronoun ze. The university's behavior code says that using the wrong pronoun for a transgender person is considered an offense. And finally, Uber launched its test of self-driving cars in San Francisco this week, and it's not going well. Watch this. You see that Volvo SUV that right at the end there, that kind of blew through that was one of their cars. Blew right through that red light on its first day. Well, I get the arguments for using self-driving vehicles, for putting an artificial intelligence behind the wheel. AIs don't get tired, don't require food, water, rest stops, but they're also vulnerable to hackers. Still, the government's going to find cause to use these things to reduce accidents on the road. Of course, it will also guarantee that the government will know where we all are at any given moment and possibly give them the power to commandeer vehicles of people that need to be arrested for whatever reason. And of course, since artificial intelligence is essentially a very complicated software package, the blue screen of death may actually become the blue screen of death. You'll find us online at SkyWatch TV. Links to all of our social media sites are there. You'll find me online at DerekPGilbert.com. Tomorrow, Sci Friday with my best friend and wife, Sharon K. Gilbert. Until then, thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV. By Turkish intelligence and the Russian military. A state-run news agency in Turkey reports that as many as 1,000 civilians are being held at an Iranian militia checkpoint. The city of Aleppo itself is essentially back under the control of the Assad government, and for Iran, this more or less means that it's established a crescent of control, or influence anyway, stretching from Iran's border with Afghanistan all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. As evidence, their ability to block the evacuation of civilians from the beleaguered city of Aleppo. Just one sign of their influence. Coming book is about the prophetic mystery Babylon, and we discussed the infighting within the world of Islam. That program will air on SkyWatchTV during the month of January. NBC News is reporting that Russia's President Vladimir Putin was personally involved in efforts to hack the U.S. presidential election. NBC says new intelligence links Putin directly to leaks from the Democratic National Committee's email server. Quoting two unnamed senior U.S. officials, one source says the campaign began as a vendetta against Hillary Clinton, possibly in retaliation for her role in stirring up unrest and violence in Ukraine, which is on Russia's over the Assad government in Syria. And a reminder that what's going on in Syria is really a proxy war between the major Shia power in the world, Iran, and the main Sunni power, or actually powers, Turkey and Saudi Arabia. And their interests don't exactly align with one another either. They both want a caliphate, but the Turks want to control it, whereas the House of Saud wants to remain in control. We talk about this, by the way, in an upcoming program with Joel Richardson, best-selling author of Mideast Beast and When a Jew Rules the World. His fourth Yahoo gets hacked again. Celebrities beg Republican electors to save the country from Donald Trump, and the director of the FBI tells Trump it wasn't the Russians. SkyWatch TV for Thursday, December 15th, 2016. I'm Derek Gilbert. First up, ISIS has come away from its recapture of the Syrian city of Aleppo, or Palmyra, with some heavy weapons. This is disturbing because among their treasure trove, armored vehicles, tanks, and missiles, which I told you about yesterday, including some air defense weapons, which is disturbing. Syria's President Bashar al-Assad said in an interview Wednesday, "We recaptured Palmyra before, we will liberate it once again." U.S. Lieutenant General Stephen Townsend, who's in charge of Operation Inherent Resolve, told reporters he expects the Russians and the regime to address the issue in short order. Meanwhile, Iran's Shiite militia units, the Iran-backed Shiite militia units, reportedly blocking civilians and opposition fighters from leaving the city of Aleppo. While a ceasefire in Aleppo has reportedly broken down, shelling of rebel-controlled areas started up again Wednesday morning. In spite of a deal,